The Watcher House, USA, 2014. Sometimes, the most unnerving stories aren't about ghosts or abandoned places, but about homes that stand quietly on ordinary streets. Houses that look warm, lived in, and safe. Until you realize someone else has been watching them long before you arrived. Tonight's story is about a family, a dream home, and a watcher hidden in the stillness of the suburbs. This is the quiet, unsettling tale of the Watcher House. Told in a slow, gentle, atmospheric tone. Perfect for listening as you drift into the softer edges of sleep. So, settle in. Dim your lights. And let this story carry you somewhere quiet. And a little bit haunted. Underscore 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 un. Let's begin. With a move, a house, and a neighborhood where the trees whisper more than the people do. Underscore 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 un. When Derek and Maria first saw the house on 657 Boulevard, a stately, elegant home tucked beneath towering sycamores, they felt a kind of stillness settle over them. The kind of stillness that comes before a new chapter in life. The house had a soft, honey-colored glow at dusk, almost welcoming, almost warm. It looked like the kind of home where you could grow old without hurry or fear. A place to breathe deeper. A place that looked safety right in the eye. They had been searching for months. Scrolling, visiting, walking through rooms that felt empty of life. And then this house appeared, solid, old, but dignified. Like it knew stories it would eventually share. If you were patient enough to listen. Derek stood in the driveway a long moment, hands in his pockets, watching the blinds shift gently in the warm wind. "Feels good," he murmured. Maria nodded. "Feels like we're supposed to be here." Their children ran through the front yard, laughing, their voices scattering across the quiet street like small flashes of light. The neighbors watched from their porches, polite, distant, murmuring their hellos with tight little smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. Still, Derek and Maria didn't think anything of it. Every neighborhood had its quirks. They signed the papers a week later. And that was when everything began. Underscore 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 un. The first letter. It was a warm June afternoon. The kind when the air sits thick, and the sun feels heavy even in the shade. Derek stopped by the new house alone just to check on a few things, measure a couple of rooms, plan out where boxes would go when they finally moved in. The mailbox squeaked when he opened it. Inside, tucked neatly among circulars and bills, was a thick white envelope. No return address. Just their new address handwritten across the front in looping, old-fashioned script. He opened it casually. Then stopped reading after the first line. "Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard. Allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood." The words were elegant, deliberate. But there was a current running beneath them, cold, patient, almost hungry. Derek swallowed hard and continued. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. A slow unease crept up Derek's spine. He glanced toward the house, as if expecting to see someone watching from a window. The letter went on, asking odd questions. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Once I know their names, I can call to them. Derek closed the letter quickly. The house seemed suddenly colder, its windows darker. He left the house without finishing his measurements, locked the door twice, and drove away much faster than he meant to. Underscore 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 un. Sharing the letter. That night, he showed the letter to Maria. She read it slowly, her fingers trembling just slightly. It's a prank, she whispered. Maybe, Derek answered. But the words didn't sound convinced, not even to himself. The children slept upstairs, unaware. Outside, the wind brushed softly through the trees. The neighborhood was so still, so quiet, the world felt held in place. But for Derek, the stillness felt suddenly intrusive. Like the house and everything around it had been holding its breath, just waiting for them to finally hear it. Underscore 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 un. The second letter. 2 weeks passed. They hadn't moved in yet, too nervous, too unsure, too shaken. But the renovations continued, piece by piece, day by day. Workers came and went. Paint was stripped, floors polished, lights replaced. And then the second letter appeared. No stamp. No postmark. It had been placed inside the mailbox by hand. Derek felt his stomach tighten as he opened it. I see that you have been busy. The writer began. The house sings when you touch it. I wonder which of you is making it cry. It went on to mention the children again. Their nicknames, even the color of the clothing they had worn the last time they played in the yard. Maria felt her breath catch in her throat. How would they know that? She whispered. Derek didn't answer. He stared out the window at the quiet street. At the houses bathed in warm golden street light. At the neighbors watering gardens or pulling shades closed. Someone out there knew too much. Someone out there had been watching them. And watching had become something intimate. Obsessive. Almost devotional. Underscore 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 un. The neighborhood. The police took the letters. They investigated the neighbors. The friendly ones, the quiet ones, the eccentric ones. But the letters kept coming. Always handwritten. Always filled with strange, careful words. I walk past 657 Boulevard many times a day. I know the sound of your daughter's laughter. Have you discovered what lies inside the walls yet? The neighbors pretended not to notice the patrol cars. But their eyes lingered on Derek and Maria a little too long. And their smiles became a little too rehearsed. The family's excitement faded. Boxes remained unpacked. The children stopped asking when they were going to move in. The house sat waiting. Its beautiful windows reflecting nothing. Its doorway quietly patient. Like a mouth that had closed shut. Derek couldn't help but feel that the house already belonged to the watcher more than it ever could to them. Underscore 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 un. The third letter. The third letter arrived on a humid evening when the air felt electric. This one was worse. More personal. More invasive. The writer seemed to know their movements. Their routines. Even private discussions they thought no one could hear. I see you have not moved in yet. Are you afraid to bring the young blood into my home? Derek gripped the letters so tightly his knuckles went white. Maria sat beside him, silent. Her eyes glistened not with fear, but with a deeper kind of sorrow. The kind you feel when something you loved betrays you. We can't move in, she whispered. I can't bring the kids here. And Derek knew she was right. The house had once seemed like a sanctuary. Now it felt like a cage built just perfectly for them. As if their arrival had been anticipated for decades. Underscore 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 un. Sleepless nights. They rented another place temporarily. But sleep came sparsely. They woke often. To rustling outside windows. To faint tapping on the walls. To soft, distant footsteps that never led anywhere. Sometimes Derek would get up. And stand by the window, looking toward the house they'd bought but would never live in. There it sat. Majestic, still, unmoving. But Derek couldn't shake the feeling that someone was inside it even then. Watching him from one of its darkened windows. Someone who had been waiting long before they arrived. And would continue waiting long after they were gone. Underscore 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 un. Trying to sell. They tried to sell it. But the neighbors whispered. Stories spread. Buyers backed out. No one wanted the house with the watcher. To say nothing of the fact that the watcher seemed to know every prospective buyer. Letters arrived describing them. Their clothes, their personalities. Even their conversations with real estate agents. One read. I do not approve of them. They are not the right flesh for 657 Boulevard. Maria couldn't read any more. She would hand Derek the letters silently. Her eyes red. Her hands trembling. Derek began sleeping with lights on. Not because it made him feel safer. But because darkness felt like an invitation. underscore 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 un. The fourth letter. This one came when they tried renting the house to a family. You must not allow strangers to pass through my home. Do not anger me. That night, Derek sat alone in the living room of their temporary home. The letter in his hands. And something inside him quietly broke. He felt exposed. Watched. Trapped. And yet, the watcher never revealed themselves. Not once. Not in a photograph. Not on footage. Not through a voice. Just through words. Words that felt like fingertips pressing softly against the back of his neck. Underscore 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 un. The house empties. They eventually pulled the listing. Stopped trying to sell. Stopped trying to rent. The house sat alone again. Dark, empty, waiting. The grass in the front yard grew untouched. Leaves gathered on the walkway. The windows looked hollow. And yet Derek always felt as though the house wasn't empty at all. As though someone lived inside it in a way that didn't require footsteps. Or furniture. Or light. Someone who lived through watching. Underscore 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 un. A quiet decision. After months of fear, sleepless nights, and unanswered questions, Derek and Maria made a decision. They would let go. They would sell the house. Even at a loss. Take the financial wound. Walk away. They found a buyer who didn't seem to care about the letters. Someone older, quieter, uninterested in the stories. And so they signed the papers. Handed over the keys. Closed the chapter. But on their final day visiting the property, Maria lingered in the front yard. She looked up at the windows. Those tall, elegant panes of glass that once seemed filled with hope. I loved this house, she said softly. Derek rested a hand on her back. I did too. The wind shifted gently through the trees. And something about the moment felt observant. Then they turned. Walked to their car. And drove away. They never went back. Underscore 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 un. The final letter. 2 weeks later, Derek received one last envelope. This time, he opened it slowly. Calmly. Almost peacefully. You have chosen to walk away. The watcher wrote. I will watch the new family now. It is my duty. My purpose. My joy. And then, one final line. Welcome to the list of those who have disappointed 657 Boulevard. Derek folded the letter. Placed it in a drawer. And never responded. Over time, life grew quieter. The children grew. They slept peacefully again. The world felt soft once more. But sometimes, late at night, Derek would lie awake thinking about that house. Thinking about the watcher. Thinking about the quiet, winding streets of that suburban neighborhood, where everyone waved politely, and no one ever said too much. And he wondered, was the watcher a person? Or a story that outgrew itself? Or something older, woven into the bones of the house? He would never know. Some houses are not meant to be lived in. Some are meant only to be watched. And 657 Boulevard was one of them. Underscore 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 un. Tonight's story reminded us that not all hauntings are supernatural. Some come in envelopes, neatly sealed. Patient. Observing. If you enjoyed this slow and atmospheric retelling of the Watcher House, and if stories like this help you relax, unwind, or drift to sleep, there are many more waiting. Until next time, sleep well, and may your home be watched only by those who love you.